Everyone's heard the word pension before, but what does it actually mean to own one? Today, I spoke to Robin Armour from Nest to help explain. When I got my first job, I remember reading about the pension and thinking, okay, I should maybe look at this next Monday or next week. But I kept feeling a little bit overwhelmed about what exactly I need to look for when I think about my pension and why exactly I need to care about it. So can you just talk to me about what exactly a pension is?
Essentially, a pension is just like any other savings vehicle. It's somewhere where you put money away for a goal in the future. So short-term savings might be saving for a holiday this year or saving up for a car. Maybe in the medium term, that might be saving up for a house. In terms of a pension, you're thinking at the long-term savings. So it's saving money to help you have an income when you stop working. And it's just putting that money away for the future. And pensions are just one of the ways you can do that, but they're quite a good way, and there's lots of reasons why they're sort of beneficial for people to use.
So if I'm someone with a job, why should I actually care about my pension?
So I'd probably throw that back at you and say, do you care about your pay?
Yeah.
Okay. So pension is just a different version of your pay.
Okay.
Most people don't want to work forever. And so pension is one way of helping ensure that you've got that income in the future that will help you at the point you want to stop working, will hopefully help you do so.
Yeah. So it's almost reframing your pension less so as something being taken away from you now and more so as a payslip being built for you in the future.
Yeah. It often used to get called deferred pay by lots of people in the pensions industry, which I don't know if that works as a term or not, but it's that idea of it's part of your pay today, but you're saving it for the future.
Okay, so a pension specifically is a pot for retirement, but I can't access it, but my workplace is helping me build it?
Yeah, exactly that. So workplace pensions are ones that are set up by your employer. The state pension is a benefit that's provided by the UK government. Mm-hmm. When you get to what's called state pension age, which is currently 66, as long as you've contributed national insurance contributions for a certain number of years, you'll get paid out a pension by the government. Most people qualify for some proportion of that. Going forwards at the moment, that's probably works out about £12,000 a year. And it's based on your national insurance contributions. So when you work, you pay income tax, you pay national insurance contributions. Your national insurance contribution record defines your state pension. If you have 35 years of national insurance contributions, you'll get the full state pension, which, as I say, is about £12,000 a year. The purpose of a workplace pension is that for many people, that £12,000 a year in retirement isn't going to be enough for them to live on, or certainly to lead the lifestyle either that they've had while they were working, or B, that they'd like to have in retirement. Mm-hmm. So if you want to go on holidays in retirement, you want to spoil the grandchildren or whatever those things are, you might need a bit more than that £12,000. So the workplace pension is a way to help people save for an additional amount of income. So often when we talk about it to people, we talk about the state pension being sort of the foundation block of your income in retirement. And then on top of that, you need to find other sources to build that level up to where you want it to be.
Okay, so it's a bit like a pyramid where the base is the state pension. The second layer of the pyramid is my workplace pension, which allows me to kind of increase that amount in retirement. Okay, so when I log into my workplace pension, sometimes I can see that I'm on a defined contribution plan. I also know that a defined benefit plan exists. What are the differences between the two?
So defined benefit schemes are often also called final salary pension schemes. And the way that they work is the amount of pension that you get is calculated by how many years you've been in the pension scheme and what your earnings are at the point you leave. And the cost of providing you with that falls to the scheme, which ultimately falls to the employer who funds the scheme. So that you could live for another 40 years, they'd have to pay you that every year for those 40 years. So that's why it's called defined benefit, because the benefit you get at the end is the bit that's been defined. So the income you will receive is guaranteed, if you like, but how much that costs is unknown. And lots of pension schemes used to be like that, and not very many are now, because of that very aspect that the costs are unknown and they tend to be increasing as people are living longer and longer. So that's why you get these two strange names of defined benefit or defined contribution. And in the defined contribution, the amount you pay in comes every year, and then you'll get to retirement with a pot, and then it's up to you sort of how you translate that pot into an income each year.
Okay. So how do I know who my pension is actually with?
Hopefully your pension provider's been in touch with you and told you that. But if you don't know, then your employer's the first person to go and ask, because they've chosen which workplace pension scheme they want to use. So there's about 1 million employees in the UK who've signed up with us at Nest. And we've got about 1 in 3 of the working population in the UK have got a pension pot with us. So there's a good chance you might be one of them, and fingers crossed. But if not, there's lots of other pension providers out there as well, and it might be that your pot's with them, but your employer will be the people who can definitely tell you who you're with. And then if you contact that pension provider, either via their website or their phone number, they'll be able to point you to the way that you can then access your account and your pot to see how much money you've got in there.
So then when it comes to your workplace pension, how do I know I'm actually getting that? I know there's options for being in and out of it, but is that automatically happening for me with my workplace?
Yeah, so the government set up legislation. They started this back in 2008, but it came into force in 2012, called automatic enrolment. And that means that anybody working in the UK who earns over £10,000 per annum in a single employment gets automatically enrolled into a pension by their employer, and their employer has to pay contributions into it as well as you do. So if you get payslips, you should see on your payslip this deduction for your pension contributions. You should also have been told who your pension's with. So that will be with one of the big pension providers normally in the UK. I work at Nest and we're one of those, but there's lots of them. And you should get communications from that pension provider about how much money you've got with them, and most of them will have some way that you can check on that, either online or on an app. So we've got a member app where you can go on and look at what your pension pot's worth today.
Okay, so it sounds like my workplace are potentially doing a lot in the background if I stay kind of opted in and I'm contributing. What else is happening? Because you mentioned earlier tax relief and something from the government also happening with my pension pot, my workplace pension pot.
Yeah.
Can you explain that a little bit more?
So generally when you earn money, you pay income tax on it. So for most people, you pay basic income tax, which is 20%. So if you earn £100 from your employer, you'll get £80 in your pocket, and £20 will go to the government in tax. To encourage people to save into pensions, what they said, and have said for a long time, is if you put that £80 away into a pension, we'll put the £20 we took off you in tax in there as well. So you'll actually end up with the £100, all of that £100 that you earned in your pension, rather than the £80 in your pocket. So that's sort of one encouragement for people to save. When you then get into workplace pensions, you get employer contributions as well. So we said it's 5% from you, but that includes your tax relief, and it's 3% from the employer. So for that £100 that you've put in with your including your tax relief, you'd have another £60 from your employer going into that plan as well.
Okay.
So you'd have £160 in your pension versus £80 in your pocket, which is a pretty big incentive to save for that longer term pension, I think. In the meantime, the money that's in your pension pot remains invested for you, so that should continue to grow. So the money that you've put away for the future is growing for you whilst you're either contributing or not to it.
So if my payslip is almost reducing because I've got this pension contribution going in, it's not a bad thing, because actually what I'm being taxed on is less as well.
You'll pay the tax, but then the government will pay the tax to your pension provider.
What if I work less than that? Or what if I don't contribute in some years? What kind of happens there?
The amount that you save remains invested while you're not contributing. So if you're not working, you're not paying in, the pot that you've got should still grow, because it's invested in stocks and shares, it's invested in things like property. So all of that should be growing your money while you're not putting any more in for you. And this is one of the sort of beauties of the way that these things work, and the benefits of starting saving early. Because if you get your money into your pension while you're young, like you luckily are, then that money will grow for you. It'll do a lot of the hard work for you. So the money that goes in early will have a much longer period to grow. They often talk about it being a bit like a snowball rolling down a hill. The higher up the hill you start it, so the younger you start, the longer it's got to roll down the hill and grow into a bigger snowball. And it does all of that itself. If you think about your contributions almost being the push of the snowball, the work that it does is the rolling down the hill, and that's the years it's invested.
Okay, sounds easy. I just like to make it overcomplicated in my head. If you like this video, subscribe for more.